A very good afternoon to you and many thanks for joining us on Citizen Live at 1 online edition. I am Kirigo Ng'arua. The planned demos organized by a section of Narok leaders to push for the removal of their governor Samuel Tunai have been postponed. Narok Senator Stephen Olen Tutu says the demos slated for tomorrow have been postponed to allow the anti-graft body EACC and Auditor General to conclude investigations into alleged graft in the collection of revenue in the Masai Mara Game Reserve. He spoke after receiving George Meshek, who recently resigned from the county's public service management.
Aondoke na tutakubali afike 2017 atoke wakati huu.
Tunafuata haki. Tunataka kuona accountability ya Narok. Na tunashukuru serikali kwa sababu hivi sasa tukiongea tunasikia kazi inafanyika.
Tarehe 6 mwezi wa 4 ndio tutakuwa na mkutano ya final. Tupatie rais nafasi vile aliomba nyinyi watu ya county, na lazima tutie na tuheshimu yeye. Tupatie nafasi wamalize hii uchunguzi kwa hii siku kidogo.
Kwale Governor Salim Vuria and Kwale Women Representative Zainab Chizuga differed publicly over the formation of Jumuiya ya Kaunti za Pwani. The two came face to face during a fundraiser in Makamini, Kinango constituency, where Chizuga, who opposes the JKP, warned that Mvuria is being used by other leaders who have vested interests in their Jumuiya ya Kaunti ya Pwani. But Governor Mvuria faulted the leaders opposed the initiative, saying they should meet him and advise him rather than discussing the matter in public. JKP was formed in December last year to foster economic integration of the coastal counties.
Namwambia mwanangu gavana, maana nampenda. Wale wenzake wengine ambao kashikana nao wamdanganywa, watamtumia kisha wamdamp, tubakie tukilia sisi.
Ukisema gavana afanyiwe maandamano, definitely nitajua hiyo ni unafiki. Na hatutakuwa tunaelewana. Si mnaona wananchi?
Hundreds of families are facing starvation in Samburu County owing to the current drought ravaging the area. Reports from the ground show that diseases are now on the rise, causing alarm among area leaders. Local leaders and officials from the World Food Programme toured most of the affected areas, including Baragoi, Wamba, Ngiro, Kawap, Naisisho, Lekarabi and Charda, and said over 80% of the people are in dire need of food. Samburu Governor Moses Lenol Kulal says the county government will supply 5,000 bags of maize by Monday to avoid loss of lives due to hunger. 60 bags of flour, 10 bags of sugar and several cartons of food oil were donated during the tour.
Hakuna kitu masiwa ng'ombe. Ng'ombe sahi amesha kufa sana. Nimemaliza na njaa. Ile maji iko ni chumvi tu. Ni chumvi hiyo maji. Wanaarisha watu tena. Yaani kitu kidogo kumeza wanaarisha.
Tuna shida ya chakula, tuna shida ya maji, tuna shida ya nyasi na tunahitaji kuungana pamoja kama serikali ya county, serikali ya national kuhakikisha kwamba watu wetu hawataumia njaa, hawataumia kiu.
Siaya Governor Colonel Rasanga has faulted the National Assembly for stripping governors and members of county assemblies of their titles, saying the move was unwarranted. Rasanga said MPs should have first sought public opinion instead of amending the law to serve their own political interests. The MPs last week amended the law stripping governors of their title, His Excellency and Honourable, for MCAs. Meanwhile, CIC Chairperson Charles Nachai added his voice on the issue, saying that titles were not a priority to Kenyans.
The title in Nigeria, the governor is referred to as His Excellency and they have used it well. If in other jurisdictions like the US, where we borrowed most of the constitution, they refer to the governor as His Excellency. I think that does not undermine the use of the word when it is used across the board to refer to the president too.
I do not think that the issue of who is called what or who speaks before who at public meetings is really an issue that is of great priority to the ordinary Kenyan.
A High Court ruling last Friday declaring the Constituency Development Fund at C.D.F. unconstitutional continues to trigger varied reactions. Members of the National Assembly plan to meet on Tuesday to strategize on how to retain control of the 30 billion shillings kitty. The parliamentarians are also keen on appealing to the High Court ruling and also push for amendments to the specific clauses in the Constitution that were declared a nullity by the three-judge bench. Francis Gashuri tells us more.
A High Court decision last Friday declaring the Constituency Development Fund C.D.F. unconstitutional and inconsistent with the letter and spirit of devolution has jolted members of the National Assembly, and they are now strategizing on how to keep controlling the billions. Each of the 290 constituencies receive between 80 and 150 million shillings annually for development projects, with at least 138 billion shillings being disbursed since the C.D.F. was established in 2003. Lawmakers now unanimous on how to overturn the High Court decision and retain control of the funds that ought to be disbursed using the devolved units, according to the three judges in their ruling on Friday. Majority Leader Aden Duale leading the chorus during a fundraiser in Bahati constituency in Nakuru County that was attended by his colleagues in the August House.
Bila CDF hakuna Kenya. CDF ndio imeboresha maneno ya elimu katika nchi yetu. CDF ndio imejenga mashule mingi katika nchi yetu. Na ile pesa pekee ambayo haiwezi kuporwa ni CDF.
Na tutapigana na tutafanya kazi kwa sababu lazima tusomeshe hawa watoto wetu na hiyo CDF. Ule mtu anataka kuchezea CDF ajue anataka kucheza na maisha ya watoto wetu, kwa sababu hiyo pesa ndio sisi hutumia hata kulipia hawa basari.
The lawmakers plan to meet on Tuesday to deliberate on how to go around the High Court decision. The members of Parliament plan to appeal the High Court ruling and at the same time push for amendments to the Constituency Development Fund Act to align it to the Constitution that was enacted in 2010. Another alternative is to amend the Constitution to entrench the CDF and retain lawmakers as patrons of the fund.
Na kutoka juzi tulipopitisha katiba, tukasema tunataka ugatuzi. Ugatuzi na pesa za CDF zinasaidiana na zote zinakuja mashinani. Lakini madamu koti imetupatia nafasi siku 100 kuhakikisha tumekarabati ile katiba ili tuingie pale pale CDF irudi kwa mwananchi, tumesema tutakaa tuifanye kabla siku 100. Ama wananchi mnasema CDF iwepo siwepo?
CDF ikiweko, hili ni jambo ambalo litatusaidia na ndiyo nguzo ambayo yamuokoa mbunge. Leo mbunge anaweza kufanya maendeleo katika eneo yake ya kuonekana. Ikiwa hakuna CDF, mwanambunge yule ataonekana vipi?
Governors have backed the High Court ruling and challenged the lawmakers to accept the reality of a new constitutional order and the principle of separation of powers. The governors insist that parliamentarians can only play an oversight role in the management of the devolved funds and not participate in the management of such monies.
Bashing the judiciary left and right, we will not help you. And you not change the ruling by making noise in Kirinyaga, and you are not signing affidavits to go and question the ruling of the High Court. So those of us who are dissatisfied, we know the route map. Those of us who are happy, let's retain our happiness.
Established in 2003, CDF was meant to stimulate development growth at the grassroots and supplement projects initiated by the national government.
We are still perusing through the ruling to see what exactly that the ruling said. We haven't received the hard copy, and thereafter waiting to see what the finalization of that decision will be, depending on the response that comes from the members of parliament. As you're aware, budget allocation is actually provided for by the members of parliament. I'm sure that when they do that, they will be complying with the law. If they appeal, then we will wait to see what the appeal says, so that we can know how to move forward. Right now, it's too early to say what that means or what that doesn't mean.
Francis Gashuri, Citizen Live at 1, online edition.
Organizations have been asked to join hands in the fight against eradication of the Jigger menace in the country. Speaking in Siaya County, Hardy Kenya's Trust CEO Dr. Stanley Kamau said Jigger eradication can only succeed if it was handled at the county level. The Hardy Kenya Trust boss, who was speaking at Sirul Primary School in Ugunja, Siaya County, expressed concern that many students joining Form 1 had not reported to school due to lack of school fees.
The county government, other individuals, NGOs, they can all follow the policy, and they can follow the laid out guidelines to be able to eradicate jiggers in their own respective counties.
Let's now have a look at sports news. And 2014 Tokyo Marathon champion Kenyan Dickson Chumba failed to defend his title earlier this morning when he finished third. The Tokyo Marathon, which kicked off a new season in the World Marathon Majors, had a stellar lineup including World and Olympic Marathon champion Ugandan Stephen Kiprotich. The Ugandan upstaged Chumba in the home stretch to finish second as Ethiopian Endesho Negese clinched this year's marathon, clocking 2 hours 6 minutes. Chumba crossed the finish line 34 seconds later. In the women's race, Hela Kirop settled for second behind winner Birhane Dibaba of Ethiopia.
Oh, it's going to be close. Concentrated on the clock. Well, I'm not sure from that whether it was Ethiopia. Well, this is tough because here's Stephen Kiprotich. Is he going to take Chumba? I thought he might. And he is. Stephen Kiprotich of Uganda, second in Tokyo, ahead of last year's winner, Dickson Chumba. And here comes Hela Kiprop in second place.
Kenyan athletes triumphed at the IAAF Birmingham Grand Prix permit in the United Kingdom with solid displays in the middle distance races. In the men's 800 meters race, Jeremiah Kipkorir Mutai finished first to set a personal best time of 1 minute 45.93 seconds. Mutai edged South African Andre Oliver, who came second, as fellow Kenyan Timothy Kitum finished third in a time of 1 minute 46.69 seconds. Vincent Kibet led Kenya to clinch the top 4 places in the men's 1500 meters.
South Africa got left. Mutai won his Stockholm 2 nights ago. Oliver did well, but he was down the field. Into the home straight. Mutai still hammering away. Oliver doing all he can, but Jeremiah Mutai takes that from Andre Oliver of South Africa. And that's a good time as well. Now,
well, we've come to the end of Citizen Live at 1 online edition. But remember, for news updates, please log on to our YouTube channel. That's Kenya Citizen TV. Many thanks for joining us. I am Kirigo Ng'arua. Do have yourself a lovely Sunday afternoon. Take care.